time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
All right. Hey, you know what's happening. You know what time it is. It's time for the Shoe Shine. It's your boy Dave from the 408, coming to you all the way from my podcast studio in San Jose, Califas. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love. Cry, Eagles, cry. Drew, you gotta smile. You're 3-0. Come on, give me a big smile. When's the last time you've been 3-0?
2016.
2016. Rub it in as my 49ers get a really rough start. Shout out to everybody joining us in the room already. I appreciate all the love. Make sure you let your homies know who like the sport of boxing that the Shoe Shine is on. JC, what up? Jose El Compita, Chicano Prophet, Nando Lamas, Andre Rodriguez. Guys, we have a great show today. Joyce beats the crap out of Joseph Parker, the former world champion. Shakur Stevenson misses weight at 130 pounds, looks unstoppable. The question is, will anyone stop the Shakur Stevenson train even at 135? And guys, as you can see, we're joined by our very special guest, LUkie Kettle, esteemed author and writer. You guys can catch him at NewYorkFights.com, as well as his wonderful website, ITR Boxing. Inside the ropes of boxing. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, and I'm so happy to have him here because, Lukie, if I'm correct, we're both from the Bay Area, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Perfect. And you know, sometimes for me, for years, it's been hard to find people as crazy about the sport of boxing as I am in the area. I can count like the number of champions, Hall of Fame, possibly future Hall of Fame champions. So we could talk about the ones from the Bay Area that you've probably been in their camps. Andre Ward, Robert the Ghost Guerrero, Nonito Donaire. And then this weekend, I recently had someone that you've interviewed many times and you've been very close to and written about, our boy Andy El Tiburon Vences from San Jose, California, who kind of had a crossroads fight this weekend on that great Top Rank card. So can I ask you right away, is the hardest thing in boxing for a boxer, is it the hardest thing to know when it's time to hang up the gloves?
I mean, possibly, but I mean, we also live in an era. I was watching Diego Chico Corrales versus Jose Luis Castillo this weekend. Chico Corrales had like 5 losses. We also live in an era where boxers are commodities. They're thrown in the garbage quicker than they're praised and talked for their talent. When you look at a Keyshawn Davis or a Xander Zayas, just as many people were excited about their potential or waiting for them to show glimmers of failure to tell everyone that they always knew they weren't going to be anything. The value and the devaluation of a fighter based on their record kind of makes these conversations seemingly happen after every single loss.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak on Andy's behalf, but I think he, his wife, Stephanie, and the team around him, he needs to take time because he put a lot into this fight and he put a lot into this camp. There's Emily with him as well, and he just needs to do it for him. So if he wants to do it again, that's fine, but he needs to do it on his own terms and not because he needs to fight or he doesn't know what else to do. And I know he's a very smart guy. So I think right now it's easy to jump into emotion. It's easy to jump into a lot of things. Look, the guys that have beat Andy, they all could potentially be world champions. Yeah, and that's the same with guys like Gabe Flores, right?
Mm-hmm.
His 2 losses are the 2 guys who very well could be world champions. We look at these prospects and we wait when they're going to fail as opposed to say, hey, maybe they just fought a really great fighter that wasn't assessed fairly.
I have to agree with you 100% because both of those guys, Andy Vences and Gabe Flores, who a lot of people in our audience locally would love to see fight, even though both of them have been in crossroads fights, but both of them have tough losses to El Venado Lopez at 126 pounds. This guy's going to get a world title shot, like you said.
At 30. Venado fought him at 30, and then he moved down to 26.
Yeah, and recently I had been watching Thompson Boxing. I love Thompson Boxing, and I had recently seen this nasty vicious KO against a Venezuelan fighter that fights out of San Jose, apparently, right behind the 49ers stadium. I guess
Christian Baez with Arturo Quintero and Eriki.
Exactly. You saw that vicious KO that happened just a few weeks ago at the Hustler Casino. It happened in between breaks. They stopped the action, and a lot of people accuse, is it Torres? Is his name?
Yeah, Ruben Torres. It's unfortunate, right? Because let me put my Super Bowl ring on. It's unfortunate because it robs both men of a great fight, and it robs people of that moment. Ruben Torres is a fantastic fighter. Mm-hmm. Doug Fisher has compared him to Josecito Lopez a lot of times. People are really high on him. This was a fight that really tested his merit and proved him to be a world-class contender, not just a prospect. Yet because of the ending in controversy and ending kind of on a sour note, all that goodwill, now it comes up to the fans to interpret that rather than a decision and an outcome.
So I was intrigued by Christian Baez, not only because he's just down the street from me in Santa Clara training, and I had no idea about him. I go back and watch his fights with Golden Boy, and it turns out one of his only losses was to El Venado Lopez, the same guy who we just discussed had beaten Andy Vences in a very tight fight, competitive fight.
Ruben Villa beat him on Showbox, and then no one mentions Ruben Villa, right? Ruben Villa has a close loss with Emmanuel Navarrete. He's one of the best guys. He's 2-2 with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur only beat him at the Olympic trials, yet Ruben Villa does not get opportunities, and he beat Venado. And that's just how screwy boxing is it's like you have guys that have beaten the guy, and then the guy that wins a fight over two guys. Venado's taken a tough road to even get relevant. Like, he's fighting on second, third on the card because they're keeping him active, fulfilling probably a contractual obligation. But it's not like he's getting these enormous opportunities. He's awaiting this Warrington fight where he's going to the UK. Everything's stacked against him. If he's halfway smart, which I'm sure he is, he's going to know he has to probably stop him because the judges, they're not going to say they filled out their scorecards, but they probably already did. So it's up to him to fulfill the obligation of knowing what what was his name? Suicide Crucides. When he went overseas, it's a very similar situation. This is the life he signed up for. He's got to know what he's got to sign up for. He knows what he has to do. It's his call to arms right now.
Absolutely. Speaking of both of those guys now, I've got a chance to check out Ruben Villa's fantastic gym. Now that it looks like Emmanuel Navarrete is vacating 126 and moving up, and I thought it was a very competitive, close fight. I asked him about what he would have done different, and he thinks he would have. It looks like there's an opportunity for him to come up and snatch a title at 126. But also, does it look like there's future potential for Andy Vences to have a Gabe Flores fight somewhere? Maybe at Top Rank, possibly?
I mean, like, who would care at this point? I love both of them, but it's like they're both coming off of losses. They're both at the worst moments of their careers. I get for maybe a local audience, they might care, but it's not really a fight where you'd want it to be. It's a fight of who's not doing as well as the other. It's not a fight of ascension. It's a fight of two people at a point of rebuilding or reflection. And it's like all it would be is one fighter. It's just not an interesting fight to me. And I think that everyone involved looks at it and just goes, well, I think Andy wanted that fight at one point because Gabe had an undefeated record and it looked like an opportunity to get him back in the mix, and he wanted to get that fight. I don't think Gabe ever was nervous about the fight. He just didn't care. He wanted to challenge himself against kind of world championship level opposition, and it wasn't ever exciting. And I think the other thing is Sacramento and Stockton are very violent. There's been a lot of things said on the internet. You can't control people that love you when you're in those environments. It also creates a dangerous environment for the fans and for those going to see it. I don't think that fight's ever going to happen, and I don't really think that it's anyone's fault. It's just the fights that would have made that fight never lined up with wins, so it just never happened.
Right. Speaking of Sacramento, the Thompson boxing headline, I'll get to that later, but what do you think of this guy? You wrote about him on your website. and I want to get his name right. Joshan. What'd you think of Joshan's performance against Richard Brewer on the headlining card on Thompson? Is this someone we should be keeping our eye on?
Why not? You know, local guy. Why not follow the home team? I mean, he's a good amateur. He should have fought Ammo Williams in like 2017 at the Nationals, the amateurs. But something like he missed weight or something or another happened. He's a national level fighter, of course, and big for the weight class. He had a rough fight his last outing in Mexico. That's probably how he got this opportunity. He got a majority decision. Didn't look too hot. You know, anyone that signed with a promoter, anyone that knows the game, if you look bad, all of a sudden you get an opportunity. The worst thing you can do is look good and not have a promoter. Kind of like DeMontez Juicy Duncan. He's fighting in Louisville tomorrow night. He's not getting opportunities on major networks more than likely because he's looking too good. He's 7-0, 7 knockouts. Those are not the appealing people to bring in and fight a house fighter. So Joshan looked bad enough to get an opportunity, and he trained his butt off, training in Las Vegas, moving his camp, taking financial risks to train with like guys like Mama's Boy, Dennis Doolin out in Vegas. Paid off, you know, and I mean, you can't put a ceiling on his potential, but he's someone that right now he's a solid prospect, club fighter, a little above a club fighter. But when you start getting into the contenders and the world level fighters, it's a different animal. So beating a Brewer, that's a good statement. But we got to see how he shakes up because there's guys like Charles Conwell, Israel Madramayoff, Julian Williams. There's a slew of really talented, and we're not even getting to the Charlos of the world. So there's still a lot of time, and he still has to prove himself in the game to get to that point as well.
You've covered a lot of amateur boxing, and I've always looked to you as a resource to find out who the hot young kids are coming out of the amateurs. Recently, I've been watching Charlie Sheehy, who just got signed by Top Rank.
Yeah, Charlie Sheehy.
And you've looked at all these camps. You've been in a lot of these camps. Is this someone I should be looking out for to make a big statement at Top Rank?
Yeah, you know, he's Charlie Sheehy's one of the best fighters in the world. And I believe it. You know, I believe it. I see it. I've seen what he's capable of doing in the gyms. I'm the worst guest to have on here. You guys are sitting here going, what are you doing? Because I'll tell you he's doing good, and you'll ask me who did he do good with, and then all of a sudden I'll forget their names because I don't say that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not compelling for the podcast. But what I'm saying is you're looking at someone that treats his body like a professional, is motivated, has deep inspirations, has been winning since he was 12 years old, has a family environment around him, and he has a boxing big brother, even though the person's younger than him, in Xander Zayas, is someone he's doing a lot of his camps with. And having someone that has the potential of being a superstar, being someone that you're training beside. So he's doing a lot of camps. He's seeing how a fighter of that level, he's seeing how he ties his shoes, wakes up, walks into a gym, hits the bag. He's not just learning the technique. He's learning how to conduct himself in and out of the ring 24/7, following those blueprints and getting that experience, because hard fights come. And like I said in this book, right, at about 15 fights in, that's when you get tested a little bit. At 20 fights, that's when we find out if you're a quote-unquote good world level fighter for most fighters. So we're probably about 2-3 years away. But Brad Goodman, Bruce Trampler, they're two of the best guys in the business. And Charlie's going to be, and don't forget Peter Kahn, obviously his coach Miguel Rios, and also Javier Centeno. They do a fantastic job. And he's going to have every opportunity afforded for him to be a superstar. And it's just going to come down to how he fights in those performances. But I truly believe he's going to be one of the next big fighters from our region.
Wow, I'm very excited about that because it seems like that's Barry, a guy we've had a dry spell, and a lot of the guys I like to root for have been coming up short lately. Let's talk about that book, and I'll give my co-host Drew Evo a chance to ring in on this. I got it right here too, Inside the Ropes of Boxing. you made this a gift for yourself for your birthday to do something. You have set a goal for yourself, and you have this book, your first book. Is it your first book?
I wrote one about a girl, but it was bad. So like this is the first one that people will read.
And it's already doing well, as I can see on the sports, whatever, how they rate these books. But it comes in at under 100 pages, which is exciting. There's people in my audience right now that are watching this that don't follow the sport of boxing religiously like you and I do. So for those people, what makes this a great read in general about sports, about sportsmanship?
I think the key is my favorite book is Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince. I read that once a week, and I keep coughing. That's terrible. So my good friend Frank Staya encouraged me to write 2 books. Sat on my bed, wrote 70 pages in 4 hours, and from those 70 pages, I wrote a guide to what I see boxing being, from professional to amateur. This is a roadmap and check marks of an assessment tool. It's kind of like if you buy a television, you know how you get a manual. I'd like this to be a manual for if you're pursuing a career in boxing.
Right, because it's actually includes in there a boxer's guide to the sport, right? Wow. All right, so in the book, man, do you talk about some of the best camps you've seen? Or is it like
That's
you said?
for the next book. The next book will be some of the tell-all stuff. I mean, I share stories. Like, I'll share Tino Avila when he fought Jojo Diaz. The first night, we went down to Albert Torres at Caballeros Boxing Gym in Sacramento. So I was in Concord. Tino's from Fairfield. The whole team got together. We meet down there. Within 3 or 4 rounds, Tino had gotten cut. So within 3 to 4 rounds, he's cut. He's looking at a fight on Canelo, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. undercard. So it's a big opportunity. It's on the opening pay-per-view bout against Jojo Diaz. So he was not pulling out of the fight. So Tino did a fight camp for Jojo without ever sparring. So he did everything but sparring. And I mean, that's included in the book to kind of just explain like what the obligations can be for when you get to that moment, because he didn't know it. Like, he had always thought maybe there's a Diego, because when you get to this point as a fighter, you start hearing the names. They're whispers of the guys you're going to potentially fight. You like the media hears the names that are like the big fights, the sexy fights, the Crawford Spence. But when you're an undercard fighter, you start hearing, like when Andy Vences was fighting, there was always whispers of Eric De Leon. And then all of a sudden we start fighting on the same cards. All of a sudden there's a little bit of tension between the camps, and you know that they're hearing the same thing as us, right? When you're on the undercards at a certain point, you always start to hear whispers of who's that person, who's going to be that person. Tino really thought that the guy he was going to face was going to be Diego De La Hoya. They had tried to make it, I believe. I don't know. I shouldn't say that they had tried. I'd always heard that it was a possibility, but it never kind of came through, where it never happened. Jojo Diaz fight happens, and he really, really wanted an opportunity, and he jumped on it. So, yeah.
I'd like to get a chance from my boy from Philadelphia over here. Drew, were you able to hear LUkie right now? Or if you had a good question for him already lined up, I'll take it right now.
What was the best camp you were in, and what was the worst camp you was in?
I love Philly people, bro. Philly people get right to the point. That's a good one. The worst camp would be that camp I just said, Tino Avila's camp, and it had nothing to do with Tino. It had nothing to do with the training. It had to solely do with the fact that the first night of sparring, Tino finished sparring in the ER, getting sewed up, getting his eye sewed. I'm not using my words right. So he got his eye stitched. So they had to stitch it, and we told them, make sure to stitch it so you can't see it when he does media workouts, that it's in the hairs of his eyebrow. So every every workout, we're like, wear a hoodie, everything. We go to fight week, and one of the people I respect the most in boxing is Don Chargin. I respect Don Chargin immensely. Don Chargin, I was lucky enough to grow up in an area where Don promoted some cards, Jorge Linares cards at the Memorial, a lot of Paul Mendez fights and Mensis fights. I grew up seeing Don's handiwork. I didn't ever really knew Don a ton. Please stop me if I'm just talking too much.
No,
but I'm just
it's
telling
interesting
stories.
to me.
So, Don Chargin comes up to our team, and I was part of the team, but he wasn't talking directly to me. And he goes, "What's up with the cut?" And we thought that we were so smooth, and we had done it, and we knew Don Chargin was not in our camp, and Don knew that Tino had gotten cut, and if Don knew, we knew JoJo got cut. So Tino made weight and all that, and me and Phil, the good doctor, Phil, we went. He's about 80 years old, 78. We went to the pastrami sandwich at the MGM Grand. We got 2 pastrami sandwiches. And he looked over at me and goes, "LUkie, tomorrow night I'm going to be working." And he was the cut man. And he said, "Tomorrow night I'm going to be working." And we just knew it was going to be a hard night because JoJo was a true professional. He was there for the moment. And we were just so compromised going in. And we were just hoping that we had hit enough of our compromised positions. I think also our fighter interview was pretty awkward with Tino. Tino talked with Max and Roy, and it was an HBO fight, and he told all of them that he could have knocked out every single fighter up until that point. And Roy basically said that you need to knock this guy out. And I get where Tino was coming from a fighter standpoint. He really felt that, but it was a poor choice of words, especially for the camp we had. So that was I wouldn't say it was a bad camp, but it was a rough one. And then that was also a camp where basically everyone lost money. So those are also the hard ones where it's like everyone lost money in some capacity because it's just like it just didn't work out all that good. So it was like people were out money and the camp just didn't live up. And Tino did really well in the fight for what he was, but he was compromised. He had sparred like 4 rounds for the whole fight, So it's like he fought fantastic for the amount of sparring he had. He was literally just getting in physical shape and just seeing if he could wing it and figure the guy out. And he was fighting an Olympian, and I felt like he won a couple of rounds, 2-3 rounds, and that was good. The best camp I've been in. I mean, trying to think because I've been in a lot of camps. So like I've been around Demetrius Andrade, and when Demetrius Andrade gets going, he was going to be for Billy Joe Saunders. I was lucky enough for Victor Conti to bring me into some of those camps. When Demetrius gets going, he's a pretty fun guy because Demetrius is like, he's got gears to his fighting. So when he really feels like there's someone that could test him, it's fun to see his intensity, and he's a little bit of a different kind of dude. So it's like you get the jazz music rocking, the James Brown rocking in the gym, and you see that like he's a real alpha male. He wants to be the best. And that was interesting to see how he kind of turned into that. Mikey Garcia for the Errol Spence Jr. fight, that was pretty special because I mean that was a really, really big fight, and Mikey trained like a true professional for that one. I'd say, what's another one that was really, really good one? I'd say Gabe Flores was a really good one for when he did his Stockton fight because the energy around Gabriel and the city and the support he had going into that fight and just how much he wanted to make young people in Stockton excited. Probably my personal favorite fight from start to finish, the one I grew the most, was Casey Ramos and Andy Vences.
Mm-hmm.
So they fought in Treasure Island the night before Manny Pacquiao fought Jesse Vargas. And we, like I said, we had heard the name Casey Ramos a couple of times. I'd seen him in LA. Joe Louis Lopez had fought. My good guy, a guy I like a lot, Arnold Barboza, fought on the card. And these are kind of the stories I'm going to put on in the next book, right? Or these type of stories. So actually, this is a good story too. So I do apologize if I'm just coming on and talking, but you got me rambling.
No, I hope you touch on Arnold Barboza a bit, not to interrupt you, because I was going to ask you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got
can't...
Arnold Barboza stories. I'll tell a Barboza story. This is basically, I'm telling you, like, what's going to be in my second book. These are like the type of stories that are going to be in my book next Christmas, next holiday season, next birthday. But so I went down to Burbank to go see my good friend Guy Robb fight, and it was like St. Patrick's Day. So we did what we usually did. We drove at 5 a.m. from the Bay Area, got there at 11. Then I end up by noon in a bar. Someone had a Guinness in front of me. I'm asleep in the bar, and some girl was kissing my cheek for Instagram because I'm sleeping, because I had woke up at 5 and I'm just so tired. Nothing went from there. It was just like, I just remember there were all these like college girls that thought it was hilarious. This guy was sitting in a sports bar, and I was just so tired trying to sleep, and someone had purchased a beer for me, and I'm just letting it sit there. So we make our way over to the Marriott in Burbank, California, that's across from the airport. And then, awful thing they do with that one, $20 parking. So you have to pay the $20 to get in. Hate the venues that do the $20 parking, especially the small club shows. So we go to see Guy Robb. He comes out to Yo Gotti's. It goes down in the DM. He was putting a slew of terrible performances together. Guy would probably tell you that too. Gets a knockout win. We're building traction to the Miguel Mariaga fight, which we were hoping would turn into an Oscar Valdez fight, right? On that card, Arnold Barboza fought. On that card, Casey Ramos fought. Casey Ramos, I believe, fought a guy that dressed up like Popeye, and it was like kind of like a weird fight. So I met Barboza at that fight, but then through Frank Stay, I remember I went, my aunt had, but why I was bringing up the Burbank story was, so leaving that place, I was finding out my grandfather was on hospice. So I'll always remember that, because that was that hotel, and I'm like, oh crap. Like, I don't have much time with my grandpa. And then it was like, I don't really know how to handle that, right? And we're driving back that night and stuff, and it's just kind of an intense moment. So I always remember that. Barboza, I had met him at that venue, but it was kind of here or there. Then it was Jaime Munguia's media workout. My aunt had cancer. She unfortunately passed away. I went to take my aunt to cancer treatment. Took my aunt home. So then my aunt's, if anyone's ever taken someone to cancer treatment, they're not the most lively people after they do chemo. So put her in the house. She's basically out for the count. I drive from Fresno to LA, go to Jaime Munguia's media day. It's god awful. I don't want to see much. I leave within 5 to 10 minutes. Everyone was telling me he's the next Golovkin. I didn't see it. I got like 5-10 minutes of stuff. I met Joe at Gonzalez. I'd gotten the contact to go see Arnold Barboza. I go to a UFC gym and I meet Arnold Barboza, shoot a feature for my YouTube channel with Barboza. Me and him have been cool ever since, because I just showed up, straightforward, honest guy, one of the most sincere people in boxing. And then from there, I went to the Jerry Ortiz boxing gym to see Heaven Garcia and shot a piece there. Then drove all the way back to my aunt's and then took her to treatment the next day. So that was that little round robin of that stuff.
Wow. You know, I do have because I've been following boxing for so long, somehow I tie like significant memories in my life as well to right around the time of major fights. But Arnold Barboza Jr., me and Drew have talked about him a lot, and we can't seem to understand why Teofimo Lopez seems to be avoiding fighting a contender who's doing all the right things at 140 pounds. But this really shocked me, is that Arnold Barboza is diving into the world of comedy. I got this from your page. He's going to be hosting his own comedy show with a comedian that I happen to know very well, Rodrigo Torres, who is, and also Martin Rizzo, who is part of Felipe Esparza, one of the biggest Mexican-American comedians. I mean, he's hosting, Paul Rodriguez, one of the best Chicano comedians.
So do you want me to try to have him call in?
Oh, man, I would love to talk with Arnold Barboza, because like I said, I actually know Rodrigo Torres, been following their comedy careers for a long time. And just that he's getting in the game here for comedy, that's amazing. I did see him on Felipe Esparza's comedy podcast right before his last fight on Top Rank. And I thought that was great, that he's doing things, alternative media things you wouldn't necessarily associate. A lot of Latinos that are big in comedy, they're the same guys that watch boxing every weekend. So I thought that was a great move. Drew, you got a question?
Yeah, first of all, I'm glad he agrees with me about Jaime Mejia. I don't see a lot in him either. But now, I was having a conversation with a couple of guys the other day about like former boxers, actually guys that have like good careers that were former champions that became trainers at the end. Who do you think out of all of them what is the best trainer out of them?
Like coming up, by the way, I love Philly. Boots Ennis. Shout out Boots Ennis. I love Philly. But are you saying the best trainer currently or the best trainer in the future?
Drew, he says, who could be the best potential trainer in the future or currently right now a former boxer turned trainer? Who's the best?
Right now and future, if you want to answer both.
Okay.
I think Gabe Rosado. I think Gabe Rosado is going to be a really good trainer. I think Adam Lopez is going to be a really good trainer from LA.
Adam Blue Nose
Lopez. I think Andy Vences might be a really, really good trainer. Like, I think that the really, really good trainers are going to be the people that are gym rats that can channel their drive, but might not have been able to get where they wanted to go, but might bring that enthusiasm with experience to the pro game for a fighter.
Robert the Ghost Guerrero's father didn't have the best professional career and he made a champion of his son, right, Drew? I think Robert the Ghost, his dad was 0-7 as a professional. Current, so Almeida says, current Eric Morales is one of his favorite, he says. And that happens to be Jaime Munia's trainer. So, like I was asking you about Arnold Barboza, do you think we're going to see Teofimo Lopez take a hard fight against a contender like Arnold this year or possibly next year, or is he just going to avoid a...
Well, I mean, it just depends on what you call hard, but I believe so because, look, where Teofimo exists in the division and where Arnold Barboza exists, there aren't any easy divisions. And Teofimo and Arnold are in a division where you got to be a real guy because there's Regis Prograis, there's Chon Cepeda, there's Gary Antoine Russell, there's Teofimo Lopez. There's a slew of really, really great fighters. And because there's so many good fighters, like let's say Teofimo Lopez fights Jose Pedraza or even a rematch with Richard Comey. These are not easy fights. It just might be disappointing to a fight fan because it might not be as like scintillating or exciting. But there's no easy fights for these guys.
Exactly. Can I get you to talk about our first segment? I know that the audience has probably been waiting. I titled this, is anybody going to stop Shakur Stevenson? I have to know. He's an Olympian, like Keyshawn Davis, who was on Saturday night's fight. Missing weight altogether, Lukie. And not...
Wait, I got someone.
Sure.
Wait. Can you hear me in here? Okay, I got you on speakerphone. Wait. Hello? I can't get him. Here. My phone. I had Barboza on the phone. So did you hear that was a little Barboza. I'm gonna, do I tell him to call in or where?
You know what? If you know the link I sent you, if you have it on your phone, or on your Twitter, you could send him that link and he could pop up on here because I'd love to talk to him about his comedy show coming up in November.
You already know, bro. I'm an eclectic guest, so I'm not just bringing me. We're bringing.
Actually, my phone line went down, or I'd tell him just to call the damn phone. I just checked my phone line, but I could send you that link, and then he can hop on here to talk about his upcoming comedy gig. But yeah, while I do that, man, Shakur Stevenson headlining on free ESPN, getting a chance for everybody to see him. You pissed off at him a little bit that he didn't seem to care about making weight and relinquishing his titles on the scale? Big deal or not a big deal in the grand scheme of things?
Is that me or is this Big Drew?
No, here we are. Hey, it worked. All right.
Do we got my guy Big Barboza? Does he have the iced out chain? Arnold, let me see your chain. Look at my ring.
Damn, that's right.
Are you rocking the ice? Are we the ice team?
Right now, man. Not right now. We're just here, man, relaxing right now.
Hey, Arnold, this is Dave from the 408, the Shoe Shine. Thank you so much for coming on here. My co-host, Drew Evo from Philadelphia, a real Philly boxing guy. And, of course, LUkie.
And buy the book. Book. Everyone buy the book. Arnold Barboza is a great fighter. Buy the book. If you make a video segment on this, buy the book.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you on here. We've been watching your fights. I was just asking LUkie, first of all, I found out that you're throwing your first ever comedy event, and I happen to be Been following Rodrigo Torres for a very long time, and Felipe Esparza. Always see them in San Jose for a long time. You have him. You have who else is going to be there? Martin, and of course, like a heavy hitter, like old school. Who's headlining that? Paul Rodriguez, right?
The headliner's gonna be Willie. I think it's Willie Barcena.
Okay.
We got Concrete a host. They got Jay Valentino as well as a DJ. So it's gonna be a fun night, man. And I'm real excited about it. Just trying to keep busy.
Yeah.
But I'm real excited, man. We're all real excited about it. So hopefully, man, hopefully see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. Pomona in Southern California is a big comedy crowd, and I got to see you on Felipe's podcast shortly before your last fight. And it seems that you've been doing everything Top Rank asks of you. You've passed every single test.
And more so. And more so. And more so.
And more so. That's right.
Man. I've asked the audience.
Being real.
Do you have Arnold Barboza in your top 5 at 140 pounds? I've asked my audience repeatedly. I've got you in my top 5 at 140, but somehow the big stars like Teofimo Lopez seem to be.
Do you want me to answer this for you, Dave?
Sure.
Arnold and Regis Prograis can't buy a fight because they're the two most dangerous guys. And the way boxing always wants to work is everyone wants to pit the two most dangerous guys together and fight the other guys. And it's as simple as that. I was watching Chico Corrales fight Castillo. And we used to have kids that grew up throwing rocks at each other and fighting in the streets. And then they'd get into boxing and just wanted to fight the toughest people. And it kind of makes the sport stupid. I was watching it with my girlfriend that didn't watch boxing, and we're watching fights. And she said, why aren't these guys even? And it makes me frustrated. And I want to see Arnold get a fight because I saw him at a UFC gym grinding his butt off. And now he's at the top of the sport. I want to see him fight one of the best people. Okay, I'm done.
Arnold, give me the backstory. You came into boxing. Your father was a mixed martial artist or a fighter himself, right? You played football, I think, through high school, and you come back to the sport of boxing, which some people say is a little late, but you've had nothing but success since. So now that the 140-pound division, that those titles were relinquished by Josh Taylor, where do you think you fit in, man? Are you going to get your shot at one of these vacant titles?
I don't know, man. Hopefully that's the plan, right? At this point, I don't really care for the, I don't want to say I don't care. I'm trying to word this right, bro. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I just want the biggest fight because I'm kind of pretty much done asking for a belt. I think I deserve a title shot. I mean, I've been, I know I've done everything that's been asked of me. I've paid my sanctioning fees. Like, I've done it all, man. And I can't catch a break. I know a lot of it's been because Josh Taylor had the belts hostage. But now that's starting to open up, hopefully, I can get a title shot, after, maybe after one more fight. Cause I think I might have to fight again, another probably ranked guy again, and prove myself again before I actually get a shot. So we got to see, man. You got to see, I hope soon. I hope so soon, though.
Drew, I want you to get a question in with Arnold Barboza. You follow 140-pound religiously. You got a question for Arnold?
I know I have him at number 4 in my top 5 in the division, right? But like he's always been linked to Teofimo, and I think he beats Teofimo right now. But like I don't think that fight's gonna get made anytime soon because he's kind of being avoided. Like Regis Prograis. The fight I want to see is him versus Regis Prograis, the two most avoided guys in the division. But the question is, like, if you could fight right now for a title, and it's probably going to be a vacated title, who would you like to be matched up with?
I think there's a lot of good fights out there, and stylistically, like a me and Jose Ramirez would be fireworks. Me and Leon Paro, he's up there as well. I'm done talking about the other guy. I don't even want to mention his name. But I think some fights like that and like a Regis, like just all action fights, man. That's what I want. I'm a people pleaser. I love to please the crowd when I'm fighting. So I'm just excited, man, to see what we can get next and what's next. I'm waiting. I'm waiting and we got to see what happens.
Yeah, he brought up a great person, former world title holder, and the guy from Fresno, Jose Ramirez, and even somebody like Zepeda, who's going to get a chance against Regis Prograis. How do you see yourself versus all those three guys, man? Because all of those fights seem like they'd be firefights.
Yeah, well, to me, I'm the best 140 pounder in my eyes. That's hands down. So I don't see them beating me. But I think they're all great fights in their own way. Ramirez gets stronger as the fight gets on. Cepeda's tricky, Reg is strong. So they're all good fights, man. And at the end of the day, hopefully, we all start fighting each other soon and have like this little tournament, and start just knocking each other off.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So did you get a chance to watch Shakur Stevenson? I don't want to talk about too much about other fighters, but hey, you fight on Top Rank. And Shakur, I was just asking LUkie what his thoughts were on, Shakur not being apologetic about missing weight and moving up now, vacating his belts, moving up to 135. Do you see any of those guys from 135 being dangerous opponents to you at some point at 140?
Yeah, of course. I see Shakur being very dangerous. To me, he's one of the top guys right now. He's very smart. Mm-hmm. So Shakur's really like he's a problem in any division, and I'm the type of fighter that, I always give respect when respect's due, and I think that, he's a really good fighter. Him, Devin Haney's a smart fighter as well. But like I said, man, all those fights are all like fights I will welcome with open arms. Like I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, Drew, you got another question for Arnold?
Like right now, like fights are really limited right now to get at 140. Would you consider doing maybe a catch rate fight at a top fighter at 135? To maybe make a good fight with, maybe make a little bit extra money, since some of these top fighters are probably going to be tied up for the time being?
No, of course. If there was like a catch weight at 138 maybe, or maybe we could do like a 145, maybe with like a 47 pounder or something. I don't know. Like to me, I think I want the biggest fight, the biggest name. So if they're to offer me, a big name going down, I'll do it. If they're offering me a big name going up, I'll do it as well.
Man, what got you into comedy? Do you frequent the comedy clubs in LA?
Nah, man. You know what? I don't. But Concrete is a cool dude, man. He's a good like a good friend. So I just wanted to do something different, and yeah, man, I'm excited. So we'll see what happens.
I don't want to go back to the comedy thing, but I've always been big on comedy. I've got a lot of comedian friends, and so I was shocked to see a boxer getting into the entertainment business, man. I'm very excited for that venture for you too. So again, I want to promote that one more time, that you got this comedy show coming up November the 5th in Pomona, California. Rodrigo Torres, Martin Rizzo, Paul Rodriguez. Oh man, who doesn't remember Paul Rodriguez? You remember Paul Rodriguez in Born in East LA? Yeah. You just that movie when he says, "Jesus está en Tijuana." Paul Rodriguez is great, man. I've seen him a lot in Las Vegas. I'm excited for that venture. I'm excited to see what happens, man. I know you're probably looking to get a title shot as soon as possible, but it doesn't seem you'll be backing away from anybody in the 140-pound division. But right now, just tell me who is your first pick, man? Who do you want to fight? Obviously, Zepeda and Prograis are going to be tied up. If you could have your pick of the litter right now, who do you want to fight?
Well, of course, it was Lopez, but that's not going to happen. So, I'm looking maybe like Leon Paro. Hopefully he gets his win. And then, like Jose Ramirez is right there as well. Just whoever's the biggest names, man. That's just pretty much who I want. If they have a belt, I want them. If they have a name, I want them as well. So we'll see. Hopefully we get something done.
Yeah, and towards the end of the year, I'm sure you're a boxing fan, someone who studies the sport. Is there a fight that you just seen back that you are looking forward to for the rest of 2022?
Yeah, Crawford Spence.
Is it going to happen this year in November?
It's going to happen. I hope so. I want to see that.
Yeah, you'll be going to that yourself too, right? You're not.
100%. Yeah, I'll try to be there.
Hey, Arnold, it was a pleasure talking to you. I'm going to remind everybody, hopefully before November, I can get you back on one more time to talk about this comedy show or after. I'd love to sit down with Rodrigo. I've never actually had him on my podcast, although I'm a big fan of him, and have you back, man. Appreciate you coming on here. Everyone check him out and look for that show in Pomona, November the 5th, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it, man.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your time, Arnold. Take care, homie. All right, that was Arnold Barboza Jr., Contender at 140 pounds. And thank you so much, Lucas, for bringing him on, man, and giving us these stories. I just want to remind everybody, I'm excited because some people don't even have the time to read books, but I found out that your book will be available as an audiobook, right? Ooh, we lost your audio. Let me see here. I lost your audio a bit, Lukie. Can you hear me? It says guest has muted themselves. All right, we lost Lukie. He might come back on. Man, I appreciate him coming on. It was totally different. Shout out to everybody who's been listening to the show. I appreciate LUkie Kettle. He might come back on, but hey, that was awesome for him to bring on Arnold Barboza Jr. Drew, I finally can talk to you, man. It's great, man. Eagles are 3-0.
Goddamn right, they're 3-0, and I'm trying to get my fucking hat, John Hurts hat.
All right, I'm going to add LUkie Kettle 1 second real quick here again. Lucas, thanks for coming back, man. I just wanted to wrap up our segment because I was saying I'm excited that your book will also be available as an audiobook soon. Oh, I still have you muted. It's still music. Jose says the best boxing podcast, but I got technical issues. Still can't hear you. I don't know if it's muted. You have to look at that little thing right there, probably. It's not as easy as StreamYard, but I can't hear you. That sucks. Chauncey Pearls he had a question. What compelled you to write the book?
Does this work? This
yes,
works.
yes. I got a question for my audience, Chauncey Pearls. What's up, homeboy? Thank you for asking. LUkie, what compelled you to write the book, and how long did it complete you to do so?
Let's see. Frank Staya, it took me like 5 days. That was it.
It would take me a lifetime to write a book. 5 days. That's awesome, man. LUkie, like I asked Arnold, is there a fight you're looking forward to the rest of the year as a fan?
The people I care about, as a fan, I mean, not really. Like, I don't really have fights. I'm not really a fan, bro. I'm not really a fan. Like, it's the people I know, Charlie Sheehy. If Arnold gets a fight, I'm excited for Arnold. Jamal Harvey, if he fights in December at amateurs, if Sierra Martinez fights at the amateurs, if Amelia Moore fights at the amateurs, if Daisy Bamberger fights in the amateur. Who else? Lamont Roach Jr., Jordan Roach. Those are kind of like Chris Lovejoy, Jeremiah Milton. Those are like people that I'm excited to see.
Some of my last question I wanted to ask you, because we've been on panels. I want to give a shout out to D Styles from the Roundtable. They'll be celebrating their 100th episode of the Roundtable this Thursday. I've been on that panel with you, and one of the things that seems to get you fired up, I remember on that panel, is the subject of celebrity boxing / YouTube boxing. We saw Floyd Mayweather. Some people saw him, some people didn't, but he knocked somebody out in an exhibition match this weekend. Is it only helping to make boxing a niche sport even more so, or is it actually going to save the sport of boxing? And I'm talking about celebrity YouTube boxing.
I mean, someone's going to die, bro. Like, someone's going to die because, like, you got kids doing basically street drugs or drinking 40s or Four Locos, and then they're gonna jump into exerting a bunch of energy, and they just were hanging out with this hot influencer girl who is super sexy, listening to trance music and doing all this fun stuff, and then they're gonna try to do two months of a training camp and get punched in the head, and we're acting like there's not gonna be repercussions. As I said to my friends in the UK earlier, and I tagged Rick Merigian, who I respect greatly, who said this too, and I want to give Rick Merigian credit because he said it and I've thought it, is we're playing a dangerous game with influencer boxing, because it's like, I appreciate that they're getting into it, and boxing's so messed up. Like, if an influencer wants to box, everyone's like, oh, it's okay. What's going to happen if they fight? And it's probably going to turn into politics, right? Politicians are probably going to start fighting each other. I'm running for election in Michigan. It's the Republican and Democrat. Let's box each other on pay-per-view as a fundraiser. Like, that's where we're trending, right? Problem is, Gerald McClellan, Nigel Benn, They were trained professionals. Maxim Davyshev, Conwell Patrick Day. That's trained professionals getting hurt. What happens if one of these kids who does dances and reviews and stuff and drinks, what happens if he gets hit with a shot and goes down and he's not a trained professional? What kind of sanctions follow the sport of boxing if we're not careful if this happens?
I agree. I actually agree 100%. It's not a matter of, it's only a matter of when. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. Somebody's going to get hurt very dangerously. Hey, thanks a lot for joining, man. I've been a big supporter. itrboxing.com, nyfights.com. Am I missing anything else? Your YouTube page?
I mean, it's not a big deal. Just if you like,
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you guys. You run a really good show. I just appreciate everything, Go to Arnold's comedy show if you got, and I didn't answer the audiobook question. So to circle back on that is a lot of people can't read, bro. A lot of people can't read, and a lot of people are embarrassed to say they can't read. So I want to make this an audiobook because this book is about giving people an idea of what you're in for if you're a boxer. This is the struggle of power. This is not a business. People always go, it's a business. No, this isn't. No businessman comes into boxing and goes, man, this is run just like a Fortune 500 company. This boxing is run more like a dictatorship where you have to navigate and delegate power amongst a slew of people. And this book, to me, is my best way of giving someone a roadmap of understanding the power structure of boxing, and they can do with it what they will in setting their expectations and so forth, so on. I appreciate anyone that purchases the book. I appreciate your show. It's very professional. I listen to it, unless I'm stressed out, and then I can't really listen to things. Like, I'm not Mr. Podcast guy. I try to do a podcast a week, but I'm not sitting here sometimes I don't want to listen to boxing, right? Sometimes I don't want to listen to boxing. Sometimes I want to listen to a show about astronomy.
Sure.
Sometimes I want to listen to something about something because that's more relaxing, right? So I'd be lying if I said I tuned in every week, but I've always appreciated that both of you, but you've followed some of the stuff I've done, and I've always appreciated that you have a professional show and you tell fighters stories, and you seem like a genuinely nice person. And I hope when Thompson's doing the show in a couple of months or a month, I hope we run into each other. You seem like a nice guy. I'm sure you're a nice guy, but I genuinely appreciate all the small gestures of kindness that you've put forth my way over the years, and it hasn't gone unnoticed, and I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much. I dropped my mouse. Thank you so much, Lucas, for joining us. And again, guys, make sure you check out his book. It's available on Amazon. Just one of the many. It's the easiest way to get it. It'll be available as an audiobook soon, too. LUkie Kettle, Inside the Ropes of Boxing. Excited to get the book myself. Thanks, Lucas. I'll be listening to all your stuff, and I'm going to go fish for my mouse now while Drew takes over. Thanks, Lucas. Hey, Drew, can you give us an introduction onto the Shakur fight while I go fish for my mouse?
Go fishing, Dave. Well, you know what? It was a one-sided fight, and then it got to Shakur throwing him, do that hip toss that WWE shit and everything. But nah,
wow,
it was one-sided.
What was up with that with Shakur Stevenson? You're right about that, Drew. Let me get that. We saw a different. What was really interesting about this fight, guys, is and I'm sorry, the phone line is down, guys, but make sure to fire up this chat again. Shakur Stevenson. Let's give a congratulations. Let's give credit to Robson Consenchao because he didn't have to fight Shakur. He took the fight anyways, right, Drew? They said they were going to pay him his purse. Yeah, he could take his full purse, but no, he said, I want to fight the best. I'm a gold medalist, an Olympic gold medalist myself. I want to fight Shakur. But we saw a different side to Shakur that I haven't really seen in too many of his fights. Here we have that clip, what you're talking about, Drew. He was awfully aggressive. And he merited a point deduction for that hip toss that you were talking about, that frustration. Is it frustration, Drew, or is Shakur Stevenson just becoming a nastier fighter, a guy who wants to inflict damage on people?
It's just probably was frustration. He said, like, it was holding involved. He said, he got frustrated. But, like, be honest, like, I thought it was a one-sided fight. I'm surprised it didn't end early because he had him hurt in the one round, and I thought he could have ended it right there, but he fought back. But, end of the day, he got the win. Like, he didn't make weight. So, like, the point was, like, he was going to move up to 135 regardless.
Yeah, it was inevitable, but it would have been nice to see Shakur Stevenson become a not only unified, but undisputed champion at 130 pounds. Hey, D-Style, I apologize. Yeah, the phone line went down. Make sure everybody, I'm going to say this again, but the Roundtable celebrates its 100th episode on D-Style Boxing this week. It's going to have a great panel. It's going to have a lot of the OG people, if not all the original cast, so make sure you check in on that this Thursday. Shout out to D-Style. Sin City Syndicate says, Shoeshine, I want to donate a $25 gift card and start a 3-pick win for the tiebreaker for Sunday NFL game. I would love to do that NFL challenge for the podcast. Hit me up this weekend and we will talk about that. Jose Algompita says he got the win, but it was not impressive. Not impressive? Oh, man, I don't know. I have to argue this, man. I'm now seeing Shakur Stevenson blow out 2 Mexican Americans. I saw him blow out... remember, he was dating that Mexican guy's girlfriend, and when I went to see him fight in Reno, who was his name?
I think that was clout.
You remember that? It was all fake. Remember that guy? He made that guy look bad to win the vacant.
He's nobody. Who gives a shit at the end of the day about him? He ain't making it no. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody beats Shakur Stevenson, but one guy. I think one guy has the best shot to do it, and I think he slightly edges him and everything. But I don't think that fight's going to happen. I want to see the fight, but I don't think it's going to happen until maybe late 2023, maybe early 2024, because you still, you got Devin Haney and Kambosos rematch. The winner of that probably going to fight Lomachenko. Mm-hmm. Then you probably assume that there's going to be a rematch clause if Haney or Kambosos lose the fight. They have a rematch. Then whoever wins that fight will probably fight Shakur Stevenson and everything. But I think the only guy I think has the best shot to beat Shakur is Lomachenko. So I think he slightly beats Shakur Stevenson. If it was prime Loma, I think it would be like a real battle. It would be an easier fight.
Okay, but prime Loma, right? Exactly. Chicano Prophet, what's up? Shout out to Chicano, who says Shakur got Drew shook. He knows what'll happen if Loma has to fight him. I have to ask you guys, man. 135 pounds. Just 2 years ago, we were talking about the 4 kings that included Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Floyd Mayweather's guy. Let's talk Gervonta Tank Davis. Now all of a sudden the division has changed. It's rattling because so many people, Teofimo Lopez being one of the original 4 kings, has moved up to 140. We just talked to Arnold Barboza Jr., who would love to fight him, but it don't look like it's happening. Now, guys, Devin Haney sits on top of the 135-pound division in just 2 weeks. I'm going to be in Las Vegas. I don't know where I'm going to watch these fights, Drew. I got a whole shitload of boxing to watch while I'll be in Las Vegas. October 15th, Devin Haney. I think he's going to make easy work of Kambosos again. He's even going down under again to Australia, to the land down under. We got Deontay Wilder fighting on October 15th. We have Savannah Marshall and the women fighting. Yeah, that's going to be a great card. 3 huge fights October the 15th, and I'll be in Las Vegas, guys, for that Rocktober YouTuber event. So I will have to find ways to watch that, Drew. But listen, Devin Haney sits on top of all 4 of these belts, so I have to ask you right off the bat, man, does Shakur Stevenson handle Devin Haney too? Because Devin Haney, he has that ring IQ. He can box. He has sensational defense, Drew. But I'm going to be real. Devin Haney he hits like a pillow. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta disagree with you. I don't think Devin Haney has defense. I think if you saw that fight against Kambosos, every time Kambosos got inside, he out him. It's not defense.
Okay, well, I'm not saying he's the best defense, but he is a bit of a defensive wizard. It's obvious when
liability.
When the Venezuelan fought him, he had him hurt. Also, I questioned Devin Haney's chin because we saw the older Venezuelan former champion Linares hit him. And Devin Haney was on very shaky legs for rounds 11 and 12. Almost fell.
And the thing about it is, When you saw him fight Gamboa had his moments against Devin Haney. Even though it was a shutout fight, Gamboa had some moments against him, and he got hit. Like, Devin Haney leaves himself open to get hit. And he gets open to get countered. You fight Shakur Stevenson, you fight Lomachenko, you possibly fight maybe Teofimo. You give yourself open, you're going to get knocked out. And the thing about it is, if someone gets inside, he attempts to hold him. He's a one-handed fighter, if you look at it. And he doesn't throw more than a 2-punch combination at times. Mm-hmm. So he's not really a complete fighter. And I really think Shakur Stevenson handles him easily
if he doesn't move up and vacate the belt. But you know what? I'm confident Bob Arum made the choice to sign Devin Haney for all that money. He has a beautiful mansion in Las Vegas because he wants to get Lomachenko a crack. And after Devin Haney beats after he beats Kambosos for the second time, we'll see if he stays at the division and takes the fight that's kind of asked of him by Bob Arum to fight Lomachenko, Drew. The winner of those two is potentially going to end up fighting Shakur Stevenson if Devin Haney. We just talked to Arnold Barboza. We know a lot of these guys can't wait to leave 135. Ryan Garcia did it this year. Devin Haney's most likely on his way up to 140, making 140 probably the future of the most exciting division in my eyes in boxing later this year, Drew. So Shakur Stevenson definitely has room to take over 135. Question is, how long does Lomachenko have to be a big player at 135? He's getting up there in age, Drew. Had that surgery.
He is.
Just had that surgery on that shoulder. It's all about timing.
I look at it like this. Those fighters are going to be busy. You need to find out who else can you have fight Shakur Stevenson. You got to make fights. And I have a good fight makeup. If you're going to make money, if you're going to make something exciting, why don't you have a catchphrase fight? Have Shakur make it a 138. Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo. Have them fight. Make money. It's a big money fight. And everything. Teofimo's side doesn't want to do it. They don't want to do it. I'll tell you that right now. They don't want to do it. Shakur be up for it, but Teofimo won't. So that won't. You have to realize you have to find fighters now in that division that you can make fights with to keep Shakur relevant and busy. Because you're not getting Tank Davis. Tank Davis ain't gonna fully putting him in there with nobody. It's definitely not with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson.
Have you seen them side by side? Have you seen them side by side? They've taken a lot of pictures together. I gotta tell you, I thought I was reading a joke, but I thought I was reading something about Gervonta Tank Davis looking at another featherweight to fight. And when you see Shakur versus Gervonta side by side, they take a lot of pictures together. Shakur is much. I mean, he makes Gervonta Tank Davis look like a small guy. I don't think we'll ever see those two fight.
Nah, we're not. Here's the thing: we're never gonna see Tank Davis fight a top 135 pounder.
He avoids them all, huh?
He avoids them all because here's the thing: if you're Floyd, he's not gonna let you fight nobody. And you can't. And you said, and he had an interview. Doesn't care. He doesn't care to fight anybody. He's making an easy $1 million payday, at least $1 million, and that's it. And everything. Like, his career ain't gonna be shit. He's like 28 years old now. Like, we all know that Ryan Garcia fight ain't happening,
right?
And everything. So, and that's another fight you could probably make with Oscar. Is probably Shakur Stevenson versus Ryan Garcia. But I don't think they'll do that because they don't want Ryan to be exposed by Shakur Stevenson's skill set.
Drew, while we're talking about 135-pound fighters, I just want to bring him up because me and you did a podcast. I always tell people about this Twitch Sports thing where we try to get a job on Twitch Sports, and Keyshawn Davis was one of the judges. Keyshawn Davis, silver medalist at 135 pounds. I mean, he just won the silver medal at the Olympics recently. He's the co-main for Shakur. Where does someone like Keyshawn Davis, he deserves a little bit of criticism, but he's fighting who they ask him to fight, Drew, but I've seen him fight in person on the undercard of Shakur Stevenson. Like LUkie was just saying, sometimes Top Rank and other promotional companies will put fighters on the same card because they want to plant that seed in everybody's head that these two guys might fight, man. But is Keyshawn Davis ready for these type of fighters?
No. I'm be honest.
They moving him too slow? They moving him too slow?
They're moving him too fast.
Too fast? I don't know. Some of the Mexican fighters he's been fighting have part-time jobs, you know, like the old.
Yeah, but like there's some guys in there that have good ass records. A couple of guys, like the guy from, he's fighting, he's moving up in competition, but I think it's time that you look at like, let's hold the brakes a little bit.
All right, but Remy has a comment for us. He says, "What up? Shakur versus Haney seems like a slumber party. Pillow fist versus pillows." You know. That's what I was saying. Drew started off the show saying he saw a new side. We saw a new side of Shakur this weekend. One that's a little bit aggressive. One that's tossing people over like a wrestler. Is this the new version of Shakur?
But here's the thing: are we going to call Shakur Stevenson pillow fist? Because we saw what he did against Jamil Herring. He has somewhat of power in him. Get a good shot in.
Yeah, he does. We'll see.
Hurt somebody Like I look at it like this, like Shakur, I think stops Devin Haney.
Very interesting. Because, like, man. Well, he definitely could land a lot of shots. He definitely could land a lot more shots. I think he's going to probably. Can I just give credit, guys? Robson Kostenchow did not get the credit from the broadcasting team at Top Rank. I saw him try harder than anybody who's ever fought Shakur Stevenson, and I saw him hit Shakur Stevenson a lot cleaner than the broadcast team made it out to be. I mean, this guy gave it his best. It just wasn't good enough.
But that's the thing. He got hit, and they didn't mention it. But here's the thing. People can go watch that while they're preparing for him and say, hey, he can get hit. He can be hit. If we can just catch him there, that'd be curtains. But, like, if you look at it, he has not fought anybody with with the best footwork yet. Like, people are talking about, two pure boxers, but to me, a pure boxer has at least somewhat good footwork. This dude didn't have that good of footwork to me. So I'm thinking, if you're going to fight like, we're not going to know how good he really can be when he fights somebody until he fights somebody with excellent footwork that can cause him problems. And we're not going to know that for at least another year, at least.
All right.
Probably. But there's like the Keyshawn Davis, I think if you look at it, other than you have like Shakur right now, Loma, Devin, Kambosos, you can say Jojo Diaz, William Zapata. Other than them, can Keyshawn Davis beat any of them? I think Zapata he beats. He can potentially beat maybe Linares. Got to add him too. He can potentially beat Linares.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's old now.
Yeah, it'll be a name. They're looking for a name on his resume, Guillermo Linares, and everything. But it's really, does he beat the upper echelon of this division yet? And the thing is, I think he has a problem with Shakur. I think he has a problem with Lomachenko. Devin, he might have a good shot with Devin. He might beat Kambosos. I don't know. Like, the verdicts, I gotta see more of them, because he did have problems with one guy, but a couple fights ago. But I gotta see more of them before I even say what this dude's gonna do.
Yeah, shout out to my homegirl Rhonda who just joined us. Hey guys, the season is here, and I was drinking this, and I want to give a shout out to this San Jose brewery. This one is called the Gourd Tree. I have to be honest, this thing was delicious. It's called it's a pumpkin cider. You know, Halloween is upon us, the fall is upon us, and I've never had a pumpkin cider, and I have to tell you, it was delicious. If you get a chance to drink a pumpkin cider, find one, because this one here from San Jose was delicious. Drew, let's segue into the heavyweight division, because I think we'll go right up until 9 o'clock. Shout out to everyone who's just joining us. Thank you, Remy, for joining us. But Joyce, Daytime heavyweight action, Drew, between the former heavyweight champion Joseph Parker, a guy who narrowly beat Andy Ruiz Jr. I put it up here. Joe Joyce is better than Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder and AJ. Am I tripping? Am I saying too much? Am I getting ahead of myself? And why are people upset at the comparisons between Joe Joyce and a young George Foreman? Is there really reason to be upset? I mean, George Foreman looks slow as molasses, but if you look at their builds, they sure remind me of each other. And the relentless pressure, Drew. Joe Joyce can just walk right through you. At this point, Joe Joyce, if you don't know who he is, the UK superstar, future superstar, he has now beat and knocked out Daniel Dubois, who was an up-and-coming contender that everybody thought could be world title challenger or champion. Knocks him out. And now he adds another big name to the list, someone who had never been stopped, Joseph Parker. Drew, you said that Joseph Parker would eke out this win, and he succumbed to the pressure, man. What is with Joe Joyce's? Is it his chin? Is it his physical strength? Is it the Cuban coach Ismael Salas from Las Vegas? What's going on with Joe Joyce, man, that he looks like a guy who could potentially beat up in my eyes? I think he could probably stop for sure Andy Ruiz and AJ. He stops AJ. You know, I'm just throwing Deontay Wilder in there for clickbait, but
you know what? It's not going to trust anybody, but he's the juggernaut, bitch. But now, here's the thing. If you look at it, I think like if you don't have the power to hurt him, you're going to have to really be a real good boxer. That's what
like Usyk. Notice I didn't put Usyk. I didn't put Usyk.
Yeah, Usyk boots. Here's the thing, man. Like, does he stand a chance against Anthony Joshua? Yes.
Has Joe Joyce fought Usyk in the World Series of Boxing? Have they fought before? Because I know, they have fought.
Yeah.
And
Usyk beat him.
There we have it, man. That's why I didn't add them to the list. I thought they fought each
other. Look at it like this. Can he beat AJ now?
Oh, I think
yes.
A lot of guys
he can
beat
AJ now. And we're gonna be having AJ fanboys like cry me a fucking river and everything and try to crucify us, but who gives a flying fuck at the end of the day? No, I'm fucking serious. Like, seriously. People are gonna say, "Oh, Joe Joyce beats AJ," they'll crucify you, the fanboys and fangirls, because they are fangirls too. But does he beat Deontay Wilder? Possibly. I could see that.
I'm excited to see Deontay Wilder. I got my homegirl Rhonda in here from Walk with Rhonda on YouTube. We're going to be at this event in October in Las Vegas, Drew. She just celebrated her 1,000 subs, so congratulations. She hit the monetization marker in just less than 5 months, so shout out to you, Rhonda. I'm going to have to watch that fight Drew's talking about, Deontay Wilder. We're going to have to find a TV in Las Vegas, a sports bar, to watch that on Saturday night. Drew?
Yeah, I'm going to be out probably.
Joseph?
It's the day before my birthday.
That's right. Congratulations to all the Libras. That's your birthday week. That's my birthday week. That's a lot of Libras' birthday weeks. But Joseph Parker, Drew, never been stopped. A bloodied mess. Where do you rank Joe Joyce now? The heavyweight landscape division is kind of like, we just saw Andy Ruiz look pretty good against the old aging Cuban fighter. Andy Ruiz is kind of looking good again. You got Joe Joyce looking solid. You got AJ looking awful. And the big news with boxing in the heavyweight division aside from Joe Joyce making a statement, Drew, is that Tyson Fury was potentially going to fight AJ in a super mega UK British fight that could have probably sold 100,000 seats. And all of the sudden, Drew, Tyson Fury today says, too late, you didn't sign, you fucked up. AJ.
Anthony Joshua. That's the alarm saying he fucked up.
I usually don't cuss, but yeah, Tyson Fury says, Anthony Joshua, you effed up. No fight, man. Is that for real, bro? Were they even going to fight?
Yeah. You know what? I think this was like a game, the Fury and everything. And see, I'm a Fury fan, but I'm not being biased, okay, or fanboyish. So you guys in the chat that want to bust my balls about it, go fuck yourself. But look at it like this. This is all a little game. There's all a little con, and everything. You gotta stop with the cons, man. If you're you're gonna fight the dude. If you ain't gonna fight the fucking dude already. If you gotta give him at least some reasonable amount of time to review the contract and everything, and sign it.
Yeah.
Before he signs it. Now he wants to fight. Now they're gonna fight. He's gonna fight a man or Carl. Who gives a fuck?
Exactly. No, I mean Tyson Fury knows where the big money is. It's in my eyes and a lot of people in the UK, the biggest fight in boxing you can make, and that is a guy AJ coming off 2 consecutive losses. Shout out to LUkie Kettle, who was honest with us earlier, who said sometimes people write you off coming off losses, right? And there's been boxers that are in the Hall of Fame with 5 losses and more, who've put on great things. So AJ here, we know making fights like that are hard, bro. Making fights that are between 2 huge stars is extremely difficult. And I won't doubt it if this fight does get made at some point. It may not be made now, but they're absolutely just building up the hype for that. Joyce really made a statement in my eyes, and Tyson Fury was there. I have to wonder, would someone like Tyson Fury ever fight his friend? Damn. Remy says, damn, Fury makes the rules now, or did he ever even want to fight with AJ? That's a great question because, like you said, Drew, he's now suggesting fighting a guy. Char was that guy? Like nobody know. I don't know the guy.
Well, he fought Vitaly Klitschko. He got stopped. He fought. He was promoted by Don King and everything, and he was a former. It was a phony WBA belt that he held before Trevor Bryant beat him.
Okay.
So, but if you look at it, he was a title challenger during the Klitschko era, mainly.
It's a stay busy. Sounds like a stay busy for a guy, Tyson Fury, who said that he was retiring, and now all of a sudden he was about to sign. It was how quickly things change. I'm retiring. No, now I'm going to fight AJ in the biggest fight that can be made in the UK, and now I'll just fight this guy to stay busy. The heavyweight division is the king of the divisions in boxing. Everybody watches heavyweight boxing. So one last thing, couple last things, Drew. I know it's been a long show, man. Y'all know Floyd Mayweather fought? Floyd Mayweather fought this weekend and got a knockout in an exhibition.
Come on. He got walked too. He got walked too by an MMA fighter nobody knows about.
He got walked. I didn't actually
He got fucking walked.
Can you... Yeah, see, they don't show those pictures that he got rocked, but
I saw the video. He got rocked.
Floyd Mayweather goes to Japan in an exhibition, claims he made millions of dollars for easy work, and stops the Japanese fighter. Rhonda says, did he? Wow, I didn't know he fought. Who knew he fought, right? 45 years old.
Look at it like this. That was a sign. Stop doing exhibitions, bro. You're going to get knocked the fuck out.
Sin City Syndicate tells me the fight was good. That dude was trying to take him out. See, y'all, I gotta watch. I gotta find this fight on YouTube or wherever because I didn't catch it.
Guys in the chat, if you follow me on Twitter at Drew Evo, look at my pin treat. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I took down our handles because we had all 4 people on, and unlike StreamYard, they don't move. It's true. So not only did our phone line go down today, it was a great show earlier. But even our handles are gone. So, Drew, Floyd Mayweather fought, and now guess what? Jake Paul's calling him out. Oh, man. Yeah.
You know what? Jake Paul's a fucking joke. He's going to get his ass kicked by Anderson Silva. Like, he is. He's going to get a boxing lesson like fucking he did to Chavez Jr.
Well, a lot of people were hoping the fighter, the son, that fight that fell apart recently, we're hoping that guy was going to give Jake Paul a boxing lesson. It's definitely a sport we don't play, Drew. And Floyd Mayweather fighting mixed martial artist from Japan. This weekend, y'all remember Chris Cyborg, former champion in MMA? Chris Cyborg from Brazil. Yeah. She made her professional debut in boxing and came out with her first win. She says she's going to take boxing now 100% seriously. So congratulations to Chris Cyborg crossing over into the world of boxing. How many other MMA former stars, Drew, will cross over? Anderson Silva, you say he's going to pick up the win. Already predicting Jake Paul is going to get schooled by a 40-plus-year-old MMA fighter.
Yes. I tell you the truth, he might even get knocked out. You never know. Like, Anderson Silva is somebody that he's just another MMA fighter. No, he has a boxing record. He's 2-1. He scored Chavez Jr., a former middleweight champion, and everything. So like I don't really understand this logic, but I really would pick Anderson Silva to beat Jake Paul. But if it goes to decision, they might rob him.
Didn't he already beat Chavez Jr.?
Yeah, and they try to rob him.
And if that's saying anything at all, it's been a great show, Drew. I really appreciate everyone who came on. Again, we had LUkie Kettle, who just wrote his first book. You guys can go back and check that out. And then he brought on Arnold Barboza Jr., 140-pound contender from Top Rank. So I appreciate that. There really isn't boxing that I could find the schedule next week, Drew. Am I tripping? There's no boxing this weekend?
I don't know.
You know what that means.
I'll be honest with you guys. I know you're getting to that time. You guys go to Vegas, and I know what goes on. And I know during that time last year and the year before, Drew, come to Vegas. Drew, come to Vegas.
Yeah,
Drew, come to Vegas. I pay to have you watch Tyson Fury fight. No. And I'm amending it before it starts.
Listen,
Drew's not getting on a plane.
When we get monetized like big baller Rhonda Walker, when we get monetized, I'm going to take all that money and make sure Drew finally goes to Vegas so we can pop his Vegas cherry. All right. By the way, shout out to my boy Jose El Compita, who was in here, because I've never seen a video on YouTube like Jose El Compita's Vegas video. Drew, if you saw the movie The Hangover, that's pretty much how it ended for the poor guy, for Jose, our buddy in the show here, Jose El Compita. Shout out to him. October 8th apparently is the next fight. Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr., two sons of former stars, two stars in their own right. That's coming up October 8th. Sebastian and Towering and Fundora will be fighting on October 8th. And then, of course, October 15th, everybody is fighting. I'll be in Las Vegas for that weekend. Any final thoughts on this weekend, Drew, between Shakur Stevenson, Joyce, Floyd Mayweather?
I'm done talking about them.
You done talking about them?
It's past tense now. Like that. Like really, Floyd fucking retire if we get knocked the fuck out.
No, he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao one more time. I think he's banging Manny.
Pacquiao will knock him out in an exhibition. Watch. I can see it.
You know what? I'm actually nervous, and I don't want anybody to come back. But I'm nervous for the Niners, man, Drew, because the Eagles are 3-0 and the Niners are 1-2.
Well, here's the thing. If you're a Denver Bronco fan, you should be really concerned. Straight up concerned, because they can't score points for shit.
Ugh.
Like seriously, you traded all your shit to get Russell Wilson. Multiple first-round picks. Then you gave Russell Wilson a 5-year, $245 million extension. And what the fuck do you get out of it? The offense barely averages 13 points a game in the first 3 games of the season.
Yeah, and somehow they still beat us.
They're dead last in points per game. They're dead last.
Why are you just making the Niners sound so much worse, guys? He's just making the Niners sound so much worse. But that's how it goes for football, man. Drew, we never did launch that football show. I know people are still asking us about it. Sin City Syndicate says he wants to do some kind of prop bet. I will be looking forward to that phone call this weekend.
Well, my laptop went. We can't do shit because my laptop went.
Y'all heard that? The shoe shine.
I'm on an iPad, the brand new one, and it shows my beautiful face just fine. So love it.
It's got a good picture and it's got a pretty good mic, guys. Thank you so much for joining the shoe shine this week. This Thursday, if you want to catch the roundtable, it'll be a all-star panel of boxing commentators. I'm going to be on there with all the good homies on D-Styles Boxing. Make sure you check that out, the 100th episode. Drew, appreciate you so much for coming on the show again tonight. I'm going to give you the last words. Come on, give me a Drew rant.
I know what I'm doing Thursday night. Probably drinking. No,
I can't do that this weekend.
I booked that next night. I ain't drinking.
All right.
I can't drink during the week because I work. I'm a worker guy, you know.
I heard that.
But no, at the end of the day, man, I tell you the truth, this gonna be next couple months is probably gonna be boring as shit in boxing.
Yeah, we'll get through it. We will get through 2022. The Shoe Shine will get through it, and appreciate all y'all guys. Don't forget to, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe. If you didn't hit the like today, and even better, you know what I like? I like comments, guys. Drop me a comment and let me know how the Shoe Shine can do even better next week. We'll see you guys next week. All right, make sure you tune in.
That's not why call me a pussy in chat.
We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.